Hey guys, it's Sasha on call and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking about the next Maple Hospital update because the developers recently revealed something really interesting. Also, make sure you watch to the end of this video because I'm going to be telling you how you can win 3,000 Robux in my next giveaway. Anyway, so apparently pets will soon be added and will be able to get treatments in a brand new vet building. A leaked picture of the new veterinary building was recently shared, and it might give us our first look at what the next update could include. I will show the picture soon, so stay in the video. But today, we're not only talking about the pet update, we're also going to be talking about other features the community has been asking for, because some of them would make Maple Hospital way more realistic. And some of these ideas are actually coming directly from the community suggestions in the Discord server. So let's take a look, guys. So first, let's talk about the biggest thing that has been revealed, which is the upcoming pet system coming March 14. So next week, guys, so stay tuned for that video as well. The developers mentioned that pets will soon be able to receive treatments in the brand new veterinary building, and that could include a completely new type of roleplay to the game. Right now, in Maple Hospital, we already have lots of different departments like the emergency room, surgeries, labor and delivery, pediatric, and more. But adding the veterinary department would introduce something totally new. Imagine if players could bring their pets to the hospital because they're sick, injured, or need medical attention. For example, I hope we get things like pet checkups, injured animals, emergency treatment for pets, maybe even pet surgeries in the future. Because instead of only being able to attend patients in the hospital, we could also treat animals as a vet. So that will mean a new role. And that could create a lot of new roleplay possibilities. This is a question that a lot of people might have. Where could the vet building be? Because if you look around the map, Maple Hospital already has several buildings outside the hospital. And one of the things that I noticed is that there's actually a pet shop already in the map. So that makes me wonder if the vet clinic might be placed somewhere near the pet shop area, because that wouldn't actually make a lot of sense, right? Players could go to the pet shop to get items for their pets, and if their pet gets sick or injured, they could bring it to the vet clinic nearby. That will make the entire area like a pet-related section of the map, which I love. Another possibility is that the veterinary department could be even connected to the hospital itself. Right now, we don't know exactly where it would be placed, but I will definitely be interested to see how the developers decide to design it, which actually, we already know, guys. So, as I said in the intro, a leaked image of the common vet building was shared on their Discord server. And this might actually be our first look at what the new building could look like. From this picture, it looks like the vet building is going to be a completely separate structure, possibly somewhere outside the hospital area. So that kind of answered my question, right? Guys, keep watching because at the end of this video, I'm going to be telling you how you can win 3,000 Robux. So if you want to be the winner, make sure to stay here. Now, another question many players have is how pets will actually work in the game, because there are a few different possibilities. One possibility is that pets could work as NPC characters. That means animals could appear in the game automatically, just like patients, and the vets would have to treat them. For example, a dog might arrive with an injury. Another possibility is that players might actually be able to own pets themselves, which I think that's 100%, honestly. So players could adopt pets, and if their pets get sick or injured, they could bring them to the vet clinic. That will create a lot of interaction between players, and honestly, both systems could work really well in Maple Hospital, just as it is working with the human patients at the hospital, right? Now, let's go into a completely different topic. Another thing that I really hope gets improved in a future update is the zebra phone, because the zebra phone was added in a previous update, but right now it doesn't really have any function at all. So it would be really cool if the developers expanded the zebra phone system. For example, maybe doctors and nurses could use it to scan the bracelets that patients wear. If they add bracelets, of course. In real hospitals, nurses often scan patients' bracelets to access their medical information. So imagine if the zebra phones could be used for that. Scan patient bracelets, check medical records, assign treatments, or even update patient charts. That would make the hospital so much more realistic. Another feature that could be improved is the emergency system. Right now, emergencies do happen in Maple Hospital, but they could definitely be expanded. For example, emergencies could be longer and more complex. Medics might need to go through multiple steps like diagnosing the patient, stabilizing them, performing treatment, and possibly sending them to surgery, and even more steps. That will make emergency roleplay much more exciting, right? Looking at the community's suggestions from the Discord server, one idea that many players have suggested is adding NPC babies to the NICU. Right now, if players want to roleplay with the baby, they have to go through the whole process of delivering the baby. But if NPC babies existed in the NICU, doctors and nurses could immediately start treating patients there, which I think is a great idea. That will make the labor and delivery roleplays even much easier and faster to start. Another thing that could really improve Maple Hospital is adding more surgeries and medical procedures. Right now, the surgery system in the game is already fun, but there are actually many different types of surgeries that can make the surgeon role even more interesting. A really interesting surgery that could be added is heart surgery. Now, this would probably be a more advanced procedure, but it can make the operating room roleplay much more dramatic. For example, a patient might arrive with a serious heart condition, and surgeons would need to perform procedures like repairing arteries or stabilizing the heart, and that would create some really intense roleplay situations. Another possibility is trauma surgery. Trauma surgery is usually performed when a patient has been seriously injured in an accident. For example, car accidents, severe falls, or major injuries. So imagine an emergency patient arriving in critical condition, and the doctors needing to rush them into surgery immediately. That would make the ER and surgery departments feel much more connected. Another surgery that could be really interesting is brain surgery. This would definitely be one of the most advanced procedures in the game, but it could involve things like treating brain injuries or removing tumors from the brain. And adding something like this will make the surgeon role feel much more specialized. And of course, many players have been also suggesting adding C-sections to the labor and delivery department. Right now, the deliveries in Maple Hospital are normal deliveries, but in real hospitals, sometimes a baby needs to be delivered through a surgical procedure called a C-section. This would involve moving the patient to an operating room and having surgeons and OB doctors working together. As we all know, in the last update, we got an operating room for C-sections. The developers mentioned that C-sections will be added, but not right now. Maybe in a few months, guys. So be patient because it's coming. I guess this is a really hard thing to build on a game, so we really need to be patient, guys. But at least we got the room so we can roleplay. If you've ever noticed, there's an intensive care room right at the PACU. I'm pretty sure you can use these rooms, but there's not really much to do here. I really hope people knew more about these rooms and that actually they add something that we can roleplay up here. If you have ideas, let me know in the comments. Maybe if the patient is really sick, they could be changed to this rooms instead of the normal rooms, right? That would make it so much more intense. Another feature that has been mentioned before in the community is something called a trauma system. Now, if you've been around the Maple Hospital Discord server, you might have seen people talking about something like a trauma bay, potentially being added in the future, which actually they mentioned about it, but the update was never out and was pushed back. I'm not completely sure about this. And if it actually happens, it could completely change how the emergency department works. Because right now, the ER is already fun, but most of the treatments are the same or very simple. But a trauma system could introduce much more serious emergency situations. For example, instead of a patient just walking in with a basic condition, we could have patients arriving with critical injuries that require multiple steps to be treated. Doctors or nurses might have to stabilize the patient first, control bleeding, run scans, and then decide whether the patient needs surgery or not, or if they need something else. Okay, so in the last update, they added a hospital archive, so I have a theory here. It's some type of patient medical record system. And the reason I say this is because something interesting was recently added to the hospital. If you go down to the basement, there is actually a room called Hospital Archives. Now, that room looks like a place where medical records or hospital documents could be stored. And it's actually locked and the window of the door is broken. So that's kind of suspicious, right? So this makes me wonder if the developers might eventually introduce some kind of patient record system. That would add a whole new level of realism to Maple Hospital. And honestly, the fact that the archive room already exists makes me think that maybe something like this could be planned for a future update. Of course, this is just a theory, but it would definitely be a really interesting future, right? Another feature that can make the game really interesting is adding specialist roles for more experienced players. Right now, players can work as doctors, nurses, surgeons, and other roles. I mean, we already have some type of that. But imagine if higher level players could unlock specialized medical roles. For example, cardiologists who specialize in heart treatments, pediatric surgeons who perform surgeries for children, neurologists who treat brain conditions, and even trauma specialists who handle critical emergencies. These roles could unlock after reaching a certain level in the game. So, experienced players would have something new to work toward. Another future that could be really interesting is some type of night shift system. Right now, the hospital is always active and bright. But imagine if the game had a night mode where the hospital becomes darker and quieter. During night shifts, there might be fewer regular patients, but more emergencies could happen. This would completely change the atmosphere of the hospital. Instead of a busy daytime environment, the hospital might feel quieter but more intense. And honestly, that could make roleplay feel very different depending on what the time is in the game. Another really interesting idea from the community is adding some type of medical training or simulator system. Some players suggested creating a medical school area inside of the hospital. I mean, we already have the room for it. So this could introduce roles like nursing student, medical student, or even an instructor. And maybe experienced players could unlock special roles or a certified instructor. Alright guys, that's everything we know so far about the next Maple Hospital update, and honestly, I'm really excited to see what the developers end up adding. But I also want to know what you think. What features would you like to see in the next update? Do you want new surgeries, the trauma bay maybe, C-sections, or even a medical school training area? Let me know down in the comments because I will be reading them all. Alright guys, the moment you guys been waiting for. I'm going to be doing a 3,000 Robux giveaway. So if you want to enter, the steps are super simple. First, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Second, like this video. And third, comment your Roblox username down below. And also tell me in the comments what update you want Maple Hospital to add next. That's a very important step because I want to know what you think. I'll be picking the winner in my next video, so make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss it. And before you go, if the video reaches 1,000 likes, I might even pick 2 winners instead of 1. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on my TikTok because I post extra Maple Hospital content there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys!